Welcome back. So, judgment in the reopened Neil Agate inquiry will be delivered tomorrow. Now, in the early 1980s, Dr. Neil Agate was found dead in his cell at the John Foster Square police station in Johannesburg. Well, it's 40 years later, but only now will there be some closure. Now, someone who has gone through a similar ordeal with his uncle is Imtiaz Kaji. Ahmed Timol's nephew is still fighting for justice for his uncle's murder under the apartheid regime. In fact, he joins us now to discuss this. Imtiaz, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I'm going to jump straight in and ask for your expectations of what it is you want to hear tomorrow.
Hi there, Naledi. It's only my pleasure to join you this evening. Well, I can understand the anxiety and the apprehension on the part of the Agate family because I and my family went through this in October 2017, eagerly awaiting the judgment to be issued by Judge Moleo at that particular time, Naledi. But unfortunately, for me, based on my experiences on the events post the inquest, I think that is when reality dawned upon me that, yes, the reversal of the inquest finding is very significant, is very important. But if perpetrators are allowed after the inquest not to be charged, not for the criminal trial to commence, like in my particular case, then the reality sinks in that apartheid era perpetrators continue to get away with the heinous crimes that they had committed. And in my particular matter, Naledi, João Rodrigues has passed on. His matter was to be heard at the Concord. And the Concord dismissed his application after his passing, and an application was brought by the Foundation for Equality Before the Law. The other two alleged apartheid era perpetrators, Neville Els and Seth Sons, aged 87 and 85 years respectively, almost 4 years after their cases were opened, the NPA has only in January got representation from them. So what other conclusion and inference can I make, Naledi, except that there's absolutely no political will on the part of the judiciary in this particular country and the ANC government of the day to ensure that apartheid era perpetrators get charged and prosecuted for the crimes that they had committed.
Yeah. Does it mean anything to you that that judgment, though, is open to the public and that the country can see for themselves what the resolution is?
Well, that is significant again for the family. But I can share with you, Naledi, that the events that I had endured post the 12th of October 2017, purely because of my persistence in pursuing charges against Rodrigues, Els and Sons, my motives all of a sudden became questioned. My integrity. I then got told that I have this infatuation of pursuing matters further. The intention was only to have the inquest reversed. And the rationality on my side, Naledi, is that if here's a person who's on his own evidence placed himself at the crime scene, why should he then not have his day in court where his evidence can be tested? And the reality is that there are many, many people on either side of the political divide that are absolutely terrified of the truth ever emerging, because the reality is that there's going to be comrades that have been implicated in the selling out of our martyrs.
Yeah, that's a big thing that you've just said there. That you said there are going to be comrades that are implicated. It's 40 years since the death of Neil Agate. You yourself, as the Timol family, have been going through a similar process for many, many years. The delay, who do you point the finger at for the delays that we have seen?
We need to start at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, because all the alleged perpetrators should have been subpoenaed to come and testify. And let's not forget that it was the same TRC that granted amnesty to Jeff Benzine, who had in cold blood assassinated Ashley Creel. So the starting problem that we face with is at the TRC. Then we go to the PCLU unit that was set up in terms of a proclamation issued by President Mbeki in 2003, a dedicated unit to investigate TRC matters. An interministerial task team around 2005, 2006 looked at many, many matters, including the Agate, the Timol, the Biko, the Kerok 4 matters. And none of those investigations were ever conducted, and those matters were shut down. We then go to the 2008-2009 attempt by the NPA and the ANC government led by President Mbeki seeking a backdoor amnesty deal. That was rejected by the courts. Then we come to the Timor matter in 2017. There again, Naledi, the only reason João Rodrigues was subpoenaed to testify was because his daughter had handed him over to me. In the Agate matter, They only announced the reopening of the Agate matter once the lead interrogator, Stephen Whitehead, had passed on. So both arguments were presented, compelling evidence presented to the NPA in 2016 to open the Timor and Agate matter. The Timor matter opens in 2017. And I can conclude that the reason the NPA authorized the approval for reopening this inquest was because they believed that Rodriguez could not be found. And the same is applied in the Agate matter. In the Dr. Hussein Heffaji matter, exactly the same thing happened.
Yeah.
The senior interrogator, James Taylor, passed on, and then the inquest was announced to be reopened. So this cannot be a coincidence.
Right.
If we look at the Rodriguez matter, he gets charged on the 30th of July, 2018.
Right.
The full bench dismisses his application at the end of May 2019.
Right.
The SCA only listens to the matter in November 2020. So what other conclusion can there be that there's no political will on the part of the judiciary, and that has allowed Rodriguez to pass on?
Yeah, I'm running out of time, and I really hope that we're able to speak as well after that judgment tomorrow, because as you say, it's a big discussion, not just for the families involved, but for the country as well. That there is Imtiaz Kaji, the nephew of Ahmed Timor. Let's look at